Confirm. Here we go. Welcome back to Ballaholics, the show for those who simply can't get enough of basketball. I'm your host, Sam Israel. I'm joined by my other co-host, Ian Mills. Really happy that you guys are joining us. I know it's been a minute, it's been a while, but the crew is back, the boys are back, and we got so much in store for today. Obviously, the NBA is having its reset, NBA reset, um, in July 30th. So the NBA is going to resume. So we're going to talk about which teams we believe can make it to the eighth seed. We're also going to get into our sleeper teams in the NBA as well as the player which we believe has the most at stake. So before I begin, I just want to say, if you guys haven't already, make sure to check out our Jared Dank interview. We interviewed Jared Dank, who was a former collegiate basketball player. Terrific interview and got some great insight there. Once again, we put the instructions to call into our show. This is live, so feel free to call in. So, Ian, we're going to start with you with the NBA reset. Which teams in both conferences, let's start with the Western Conference, that's going to be your eighth seed? And I think we all know the answer. I think we all know,
Yeah,
but
I've learned in life, the 19 years I've been on this earth, that in betting, you never bet against yourself. You never bet against your team. Uh, just simply for those reasons, I can't bet against the Sacramento Kings. Well, not just those reasons, but basically, you look at it right now. You got a team that's like the Grizzlies, who are the AC now, a couple games ahead of a three-way tie between the Blazers, the Kings, and the Pelicans. And you got those three teams tied, right? And then you got the Grizzlies, who the Kings have beat twice already this season. I'm saying I believe, well, not just for that reason. I mean, obviously, I'm going to pick them anyways, but just to add some evidence onto it. I mean, they are consistently better against teams over 500. The Pelicans actually have probably the easiest schedule anyone could have. Out of those teams coming up, they're playing, I think, two teams over 500, which is ridiculous. Sorry. Um, but also, I mean, you got Marvin Bagley coming back, hopefully, for the Kings. Maybe he can, break out a little bit more than he has shown his first 2 years in the league. I wouldn't really bet on it, but I still think De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield are hungry right now. And I think, that young core that they have is getting to a point where they're getting almost old. De'Aaron Fox obviously isn't, but Buddy Hield being almost 28 now, entering his prime. So if there were a year to make the playoffs, I guess it would be this year.
Ian, I just want to say you're already laughing because you're the
Oh,
only Sacramento Kings fan that I've ever met on the face of this planet. I've never met a Sacramento Kings fan besides you, Ian. But again, it's much respect coming your way, and I'm a suffering Knicks fan, so honestly, it might be better to be a Sacramento Kings fan.
up and
Anyway,
right.
I don't have the Sacramento Kings as my eighth seed. I think that maybe you're falling a little delusional there, but let's leave that later. When I'm looking at the eighth seed in the Western Conference, my inclination tells me that it's going to be the New Orleans Pelicans because Zion Williamson's coming back. If you look at Zion Williamson, before Zion Williamson came back from his injury, they had a record of 17-27. They were not that good. They were way out of the playoff picture. But suddenly, Zion Williamson comes back, the emergence of Zion Williamson, and he just dominates the NBA, having one of the most unbelievable rookie seasons I've ever seen. 24 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and that's as a rookie. And if you look at the record, they're 11-9. So they have a winning record with Zion Williamson. Now, all they have to do, if you want to be an 8th seed, even if you're a ninth seed, if you're within a 4-game span, you get to play in for the playoffs. You have to win 2 games, and I think they're capable. However, as good as they are, we got to stop, Ian, because we do this all the time, and the NBA does it too. We continuously sleep on the greatness of Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. That team made it to the conference finals last year. Damian Lillard is a top 2 point guard in the NBA behind Stephen Curry. And we saw that last year. Second greatest point guard, one of the best NBA duos in CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard, and they had a break. And listen, they were not doing good. They were not playing up to par throughout the regular season. but now they had some time to get some time off, rest up, and let's not forget they're getting Zach Collins back and they're getting Joseph Nurkic back, who was an integral part of that team last year before they made the playoffs, or I think it was the first round. And they're getting those players back. Now they have more depth on that team. And I think that the Portland Trailblazers are the team that's going to make it to the 8th seed, and they're going to wreak havoc, and they're going to be a sleeper team for me.
I mean, my only concern with them is Yusuf Nurkic hasn't played with a team, and I mean, like obviously every team is taking months off, but really the Trailblazers getting those key integral parts back haven't meshed with them in quite some time. That's my really only concern for them, especially they're going to probably be slowed down. The first couple of games back, I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, that being said, whoever gets the A seed, probably gonna get swept by the Clippers or the Lakers, probably the Lakers. So at the end of the day,
I don't know about a sweep. I don't know about a sweep. Damian
I made
Lillard, second best point guard in the NBA.
You think they can't win more than one game against the Lakers?
I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna win the series, but it could be a series. It could be a series. I think that I do agree. Ultimately, I would say that it would be a 5-game series, but I do think that you gotta put some respect, Ian, on the name of Damian Lillard. I think that you're, the Sacramento Kings, and you really want the Sacramento Kings, man. I feel it because I'm a suffering Knicks fan, but I think we all know what's gonna happen. It's definitely not gonna be. It won't not be the Sacramento Kings. I put the San Antonio Spurs above them.
We get. Let's. I mean, we'll know in a matter of months. I'm a betting man. I would bet on the Kings. That's all I'll say.
We'll see. It's going to be very interesting for sure to see which one of those teams makes it to the 8th seed. And if I'm a player, I'm not complaining. You're in the Walt Disney Resort. You're sequestered there. You're trapped there. So it's not too good. And let's not say also the COVID cases in Florida are spiking up, but you get your own barbers, you get your own video game arcade, you get the DJ sets, you get the movie screenings, you get the outdoor activities, you get the golf, you get the swimming. So you get a lot to do as an NBA player. It's going to be fun to see that happen, that NBA restart in July 30th. Let's take a look. Let's just see if we have any live callers. I'm just curious. It does not look like we do, but if you guys are watching and we want to hear your opinions with the 8th seed, which team will make the 8th seed? And that's actually with the West. We still have to get to the Eastern Conference, which I actually literally almost forgot to talk about even. So, Ian, let's make this one a little quicker. Which team in the Eastern Conference do you believe will be the 8th seed?
So, for those wondering, it's the Nets, Wizards, and Magic. Sorry, forgot about that. Okay, so right now it goes Nets, who apparently just no one on their team is going to play. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's out, DeAndre Jordan, Kyrie wasn't going to play either way. Obviously, KD's not playing. I would imagine they'll fall to the 8th seed and probably play the Wizards, who are back. And if the Wizards get within 4 games of the Nets, I imagine they'll win those 2 games. What do you making that face there? Am I wrong? I mean, the Magic will probably go to 7. Nets will go 8. Wizards will go 9. And then I would imagine in that 2 or whatever, they have to win 2 games against bare bones Nets team that doesn't care. Without a coach, I would imagine the Wizards win that series.
The bare bones.
That's all they are. Half their team isn't playing, and they don't even have a coach.
Ian, you could sub me in. I think I can beat the Wizards. Sub me and you in. I think we have a chance. Listen, Ian, the Washington Wizards, not only are they not going to make it as an 8th seed, they don't even deserve to be in the position to play in the NBA restart. They do not deserve to be there. They're many games out. It's not like they're 3 or 4 games out. They are many games out. I don't have the exact number on me, but I believe it's like 8 or 9 or 10 or 11.
7.5. It's 7.5.
7.5. Okay, 7.5 games. They do not even deserve to be in the NBA restart. Now, look, I'll give you this. Kyrie Irving is not coming back. Kevin Durant is on record saying that he will not return. So, they're not going to be the team that we anticipated they were going to be. However, they're still a great team. Last year, Kyrie Irving didn't go.
Spencer Dinwiddie and DeAndre Jordan both aren't playing.
Okay. You still have Joe Harris. You still got Joe Harris.
You think Joe Harris is better than Bradley Beal? Are you saying Joe Harris is better than Bradley Beal right now? That is drugs right there.
I know what you're saying. Okay, fine. So right now the Nets are the 7th seed. Okay,
Right.
they still have to get. There's a total of 10 games, I believe. So they're 4 games. They have to get within 4 games. So that basically they have to win 3 games. The Wizards have to win 3 games, and the Nets have to lose 3 games. I don't know. I don't know if I can pencil that in because the Wizards aren't going to win all three or all of their games. So it's very
I,
difficult for me to pencil them in. I'm going to say that I think the Nets will ultimately fall down to the 8th seed. I think the Orlando Magic will move up. Not only are they playing in Orlando in their hometown, so they got that home court advantage in, but I think that the Nets, like you said before, aren't going to play as well. I think the Magic are going to move to the 7th seed. I agree with you that the Nets are going to be worse, but they still have a team there. Trust me, Spencer Dinwiddie's a great, fantastic player, but that's not why he wasn't the only player on the team last year that was phenomenal.
they
Granted, they
also
lost D'Angelo Russell, but I still have the Brooklyn Nets with their chemistry, with the players and the team chemistry. I don't have them falling below the Washington Wizards. At least
they
they're
also
functional.
they also fired their coach. They don't really have a coach right now, but that's okay. So our next segment,
Let's see.
is doing was it
The next segment, we're doing the sleeper teams. So let's go on with that segment. It seems this time we have no live callers. And yeah, so let's go on with our NBA sleepers team. Ian, so let's hear it from you. Which team do you
oh,
believe is
the
your
way,
sleeper team?
the way I see it, the West is penciled in um, for who will get to the finals, whether it's the Lakers or the Clippers. I would imagine there won't be another team, especially with the Nuggets. Uh, Probably losing Jokic, although that hasn't really been confirmed yet. I would imagine they're not going to let him play. But that being said, Lakers, Clippers, I would imagine West is locked up. On the East side, obviously everyone's saying, Bucks are, it's the Bucks here, it's this, whatever. Well, to an extent, I agree with it, but I believe more in the Celtics than I do the Bucks. And that's strict. I mean, maybe I don't believe in them more, but I believe that the Celtics have a better shot than people are giving them credit for, simply because Jason Tatum turned into a superstar at the end of last season, or I guess that quarantine shortened season. I mean, he was arguably the second best player in the East, behind Giannis. And I think if you look at the Bucks roster and the Celtics roster, outside of their 2 best players, Giannis and Jason Tatum, respectively, for each team, I would take the Celtics roster over the Bucks, and I would also take this Brad Stevens over Mike Budenholzer, but I think that is closer than probably people give Bud credit for. But I still, you know, I would say the Celtics to an extent are being kind of shortchanged just because everyone's like, well, you know, the Bucks pencil them in, but the Bucks right now close their workout facility in scare of COVID. Like they're not even working out right now. Not to say the Celtics. I have no idea what the Celtics are doing off the top of my head, but they're getting everyone back. It hasn't seemed like they're really losing any of their players. So just simply for that reason, I think the West is penciled in. I think in the East, people are really just saying it has to be the Bucks, whereas I think I think the Celtics are not too far behind the Bucks right now.
It's not a bad sleeper team, Ian. It's definitely better than your last pick. The Sacramento Kings and the Wizards. So you're doing better there. I still don't think you're right as terms as the biggest sleeper team. I want to preface my comments by saying that initially I wanted to go with the Indiana Pacers because I was certain that if Victor Oladipo came back for them, the superstar that he's been, I think that he would have given any team in the East a run for their money. However, I have to go with a team in the Western Conference, and it's going to be the Houston Rockets. Now, James Harden and Russell Westbrook, we call them like the regular season players because they're so great, they're so dominant in the regular season, and then when the playoffs happen, we're like, where did those players go? It's almost like a NASCAR race, Ian. You're going racing, you're the car, you're going racing, going super fast, and eventually, like midway through or towards the end, you need an oil change. You gotta get change. There's not enough fuel. Russell Westbrook and James Harden consistently always have enough fuel to go in the regular season, but they run out of fuel when the playoffs come. Russell Westbrook, an MVP, a former MVP, Mr. Triple Double. James Harden is a scoring machine, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, I believe, if you don't in the regular season at least. The thing is, for this season, what makes this season unique as opposed to other seasons is that they haven't been playing the past 3 years. Typically, they play 81 games in the regular season, or 82 games, and then they get tired. They don't need to worry about that this season, Ian. They haven't been playing the past 3 months. They're going to be well rested, and they're almost, this playoffs are going to be like a regular season for those players. Let's not also forget that LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard do not get to enjoy and reap the benefits of playing in Staples Center in Los Angeles. They don't get to have that home court advantage. I also want to say this for the Houston Rockets. If you look at the past couple of years, they've come so close. They've come so close over the past. It's been quite disappointing. People that say James Harden chokes, I'll tell you this. Which team in the NBA, Ian, was the closest team to dethroning the Golden State Warriors? That would be the Houston Rockets. That would be the Houston Rockets with Chris Paul in 2018, I believe. 2018. Yes, and then the year after that, it was a very tight series. Other than the last game, besides that last game, that was a very close series. So I believe that they were the closest team to dethrone the Golden State Warriors. They're waiting. They're waiting for the opportunity, and I do believe this. Also, they made the trade for Robert Covington and gave up Clint Capella. Now they had time the past 3 months to acclimate Robert Covington into that small ball lineup. I'm going to say this. I'm going to leave it like this. This may be James Harden's last opportunity to win a championship in Houston. So I believe this is the year. If they're going to do it, which I don't think they personally are, this is the year.
Just to counter one of your points, the Cavs and LeBron did dethrone the Warriors at one point. I just want to throw that in the ring.
That
But
was
also,
pre-Kevin Durant. Pre-Kevin Durant.
okay.
I'm talking about the
All
team.
right,
I'm talking about like the dream team. The dream team.
I mean, they beat a 73-win team, but again, I'll step back a little bit. But yeah, to get back to your point, where I think James Harden, I think you're right. This is probably James Harden's best, or at least last opportunity to really win finals. I mean, he very well could go back next year with a better team somehow and win the chip. But I would argue it's a two-sided coin with why the Rockets have struggled. Both, yeah, you're right about the You're right about the fatigue, and obviously they go hard for all 82 games, triple doubles. About 40 games a year. But I also think it is kind of like, well, the fouls go down in the playoffs, and obviously James Harden relies heavily on fouls. But I do think it's a very good pick. I do think Western Conference, if you had to give them a third team, like that, third sleeper team outside the LA teams, it'd probably be the Rockets, I would think. So I like the pick.
I like that. I agree with you. Other than you're trying to bring up that the Cavs beat the Warriors. Listen, I was bringing up the dream team with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson.
Oh.
That was a team to watch. Ian.
Who had more regular season wins? The KD teams or just the big three teams? Big three teams.
Are you wait? Are you implying that the 73-win team was better than the team with Kevin Durant on the Warriors?
Oh, I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying.
Well, that was the question.
I mean,
what's the better team?
I'm just saying there's a 73-win team losing in the finals says a lot about the team that beat them. That's all I'm saying. It was
a good team, wasn't it? It was okay. It was a good team. But once Kevin Durant was on, they were unstoppable. Once Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, they were unstoppable.
Did you just say the 73-win Warriors were an okay team?
I'm talking about in comparison to comparison to Kevin Durant. No, don't put words in my mouth. Don't paint me. Don't paint me as being one.
Rewind the tape.
No. They were okay compared to the Kevin Durant team, but they weren't like historic. When you think about, were they really a really really dynamic team? They didn't beat the Cavaliers. They didn't win. They didn't win the chip.
You lose Bogut.
They didn't win the chip.
You lose Bogut. Draymond Green was suspended for a game.
Oh, stop. Oh yeah. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you're such a Sacramento Kings fan, but here you are. You're trying to defend the Warriors. You're like an undercover Golden State Warriors fan too. I'm onto you. I'm on your shenanigans, Ian. I'm watching you. Let's see. If you guys want to call in, you guys welcome to do that right now. I'm not sure who is watching right now. I ain't telling you my boys to call in, so we're gonna see right now. I don't think we have any live callers, but we will see. Let's see if we have. Oh, we do have a live caller. We have someone waiting on the line, so let's check it out. What's going on? You are live with Ballaholics.
Someone from Rochester. I don't like this.
Hello, Ballaholics. How are you?
We're doing great. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh, Doug. Is this
Thanks,
Doug?
Yeah.
Oh, get out of here.
So Doug, what do you think about what would be your sleeper team in the NBA right now?
Sleeper team right now. Definitely, I would have to say the Nets right now. I think that's what I think, man. I think they're about to be. I think they're gonna do really good this year.
The Nets.
I'm not a big basketball guy, but yeah.
You know what? No, but listen, Doug. I like the Nets better than the Sacramento Kings. I like the Brooklyn Nets better than the Sacramento Kings as a sleeper team.
Doug, let me tell you this. Doug, let me tell you this real quick. Do you know what NBA team played in Rochester in the 50s? Sacramento Kings.
Okay. Sacramento
Doug,
Kings.
Ian is the one Sacramento Kings fan I've ever met. Doug, have you ever met a Sacramento Kings fan?
He's met me.
No, but Ian used to wear them at school. Well, he used to wear like Sacramento Kings jerseys at school and shit. Oh, stuff. Sorry.
Boy, he was repping the Sacramento Kings. You know, Ian, you're a loyal fan.
Yeah.
I give you that.
Not that good of a team.
Local, you gotta
Yeah, Doug, I like your pick. I like your pick because you know why? Because the Brooklyn Nets, from what Ian's standpoint, they're like a trash, terrible team. You know, they're a top 3 lottery team. They're not like that, Ian. Don't sleep on the Brooklyn Nets. All right, Doug.
All right.
Go on.
What?
But if Doug says it, they'll probably win the finals just because he's never been wrong.
I'm telling you, they're going to win the finals.
Except when he was spelling Italian, he's never really been wrong with anything else, you know.
Exactly.
I mean, I've actually been pretty good at Italian. Actually, I ended Italian in '84 this sparring period. So.
There you go.
So Doug, what's the future of the Knicks?
Future of the Knicks. I think and you give them a year, they just gotta learn how to work with each other because they've got a lot of new trades, and then I feel like I think they might be able to win 2021 finals. And they might make it to the 2021 finals. I don't know if they'll win it though.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right.
I like this Doug guy, Ian. I like this Doug guy. Doug, you're great. We need to have you. We need to have you more on the show, man. You offer great insight.
All right,
man.
thank you.
I couldn't agree more with you with the Knicks.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Appreciate you calling, man. Have a good one. See, Ian, we need more people like Doug.
Yeah.
Knicks winning the chip next year. You hear that? You heard it from Doug first, guys. Heard it from Doug first. All right, let's see if we have any more live callers. I do not believe we do. So, without further ado, let's move on to our final segment of the night. We are moving to we're going to be talking about which player in the NBA has the most at stake. Many players do have a lot of stake, Ian. Which one has the most at stake? Let's hear it.
Yeah, maybe I'll go first. I think right now, if you look at age perspectives and especially coming off this past summer where, the Last Dance was, or I guess not really summer yet, but, in May when the Last Dance came out and everyone was like, Michael Jordan, the GOAT, the God, whatever. If you had to say the number one player in the ever is probably Michael Jordan, the number 2 would be LeBron James, almost in everyone's books. And I think the margin is smaller than people give him credit for. I think when LeBron retires, we're going to remember him as maybe the greatest ever, but I think the only way for him to do that is to get another chip. And I think this is a perfect year for him to get it, especially because the rest of the teams in the league kind of are losing. I mean, obviously they lost Avery Bradley, but for the most part, the Lakers their roster seems to be holding intact, which is something you can't say for a lot of other teams. So I think I think LeBron, for his legacy perspective, needs to win another chip, and I think this could be his last year. He's 35, 36. I mean, I could say that he could just have an MVP season next year, honestly. But I would say it's for him to go from the number 2 to the number 1. This could be the year that definitely does it for him.
I feel like I understand why you picked LeBron James. I think that's actually a really good selection, Ian. I'm not gonna go at you for that one. I think that's a great selection. You should be inclined to, honestly. It's definitely something that you inclined to do. LeBron James, he's the front runner to win the chip. If he doesn't win the chip, where does he really rank amongst the all-time greats? Teams are first in the West. Part of me also wants to go with James Harden because I feel like he has to elevate himself to a certain status in order to be considered, in order to have that in order to really have that room in the Hall of Fame, have his own separate room. But I don't think anyone's really realistically expecting James Harden to win an NBA championship. So that brings me to my next person who I'm going to select, and that's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Here's why I'm doing this, Ian. People like to tout Giannis Antetokounmpo and really pencil him in as a top 3 player in the NBA, at least top 4, top 5. They put him down with the Kawhi Leonards of the NBA, the LeBron Jameses of the NBA, the Steph Currys of the NBA. What do those 3 players have that Giannis Antetokounmpo lacks? That's a chip, my friend. That's being the leader on a team to win the championship. So this is his year to do that. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the frontrunner in the Eastern Conference to win the championship, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, he can do it. I mean, he's led the Bucks to a season best record in the NBA, 53-12 thus far. They're really on pace to win 60-plus games, and he's perceived as a top-tier superstar in the NBA. And he had a playoff trouble last year. Let's not forget what happened against the Toronto Raptors, what transpired there. They were up 2-0, Ian, and Kawhi Leonard went on to lead the Raptors and win 4 games in a row. So I haven't seen Giannis Antetokounmpo do shit in the NBA playoffs. So I want to watch him dominate in the NBA playoffs, and until I see him do that, I can't put him as a top tier star. And I think top tier superstar. So I think he has the most to prove right now.
Let me ask you something real quick. Giannis is what, 25, 26?
Okay.
I'm saying like he's what? He's like about 25, right?
Sure. And I want to say that LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard both won chips by 25, 26.
No, I mean, yeah, Kawhi did on the back of Timmy Duncan and in the Big Three and Greg Popovich, and I still think Kawhi deserves a lot of credit for that finals, but he wasn't a superstar then. You know what I mean? He wasn't a top 5 guy in the league at the time, and he wasn't again for probably another year after that. But I mean, you know, when you look at the league down the road, LeBron didn't win one until he was 27-ish, something around that age. I think if he doesn't get to the finals, you're right. It could look very bad.
He hasn't even been to the conference finals yet.
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't get to the finals,
he hasn't been to the finals yet, the NBA finals yet.
If he doesn't get to the finals, that would be a very bad luck for him. I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I do think he does have a lot to lose. I think the problem with it is if I don't think many people are expecting to actually win the finals. I think to get there, I think most people expect the Bucks to get there, but for him to then win, I don't think that's highly expected.
Well, they have the best record in the NBA right now, Ian. So. They're down there. It's the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks. It's the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks. Those are the 3 top tier teams. So he has to at least put up a playoff fight in the NBA Finals. I want to see him lead a team. You know, if you lose to LeBron James, like you said, I agree with you. If you lose to LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard in like 6 or 7 games in the NBA Finals, okay, fine. But if you can't even make it to the NBA Finals and you can't even win 1 or 2 games while you're there, where does that really rank you? Are you a little bit overrated, perhaps?
I don't know. I think it depends on the roster. I think people for the longest time was like, "Oh, LeBron's overrated. You can't win the playoffs." And then you look at his roster, and it's like, "Oh, Drew Gooden is his next best player." But I think he has a lot to lose. But I think strictly from an age perspective, years down the road, he's gonna have at least 5 to 6 more opportunities to win championships. LeBron might be in his last year. That's strictly. I mean, I agree. I think Giannis is a good pick, but I think strictly from an age perspective, LeBron has more to lose because he has a very few opportunities left. Probably. I think maybe 2 years. I think this might be his last year where he's really, high up. I think Giannis, if he has the same track of playing to a high level like LeBron has for, till he's 36 or whatever, he has a solid 10 years where he can dominate the league and at least get a couple chips in there. But I think if he doesn't this year, if he doesn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals or even the finals, it would be a very bad look. I mean, I would wholeheartedly agree with you. I think people's perception of him would go from a top 5 to maybe a top 10. So I do agree with you on that perspective where he could go down. But I think the margin between top 2 and top 1 ever is more severe than top 5 to top 10 in the NBA right now.
I'm going to say at that point, I don't believe LeBron James, he wins the chip this year. I'm happy for him. Great. He wins his 4th chip. No matter what LeBron does, Ian, I'm going to get down to it. He's not getting past the GOAT. He's not going to eclipse Michael Jordan. And it's just a fact because Michael Jordan won 6 with the same team, Ian. He did 6 times in a row. It wasn't like he did one it wasn't like he had a 3-8 record in the NBA Finals. No. He won 6-0, and he did it consecutively. If you
Well,
besides the baseball years, obviously.
well, actually, he lost in the playoffs. He did lose in the playoffs in between those runs. He lost to Shaq and Penny in 19.
Not in between the six. He won 6 in a row.
No, he won 3, took a year off, took
2 years
half a year
off.
off. He took a year and a half off, and then he came back, and then they lost in the playoffs to Penny and Shaq. Not that it really matters, but no, you're right.
That's not including the regular season. I'm talking about like full NBA seasons. That was when he came back, I think, in the playoffs, right?
He came back about halfway through
Yeah.
the year.
Yeah, you're right there.
But no, I think. Well, I think about it this way. I think in each age, each perspective. If you look back at like people who watched the NBA in the 60s or the 70s, they think, oh, Kareem, Bill Russell, they're the GOATs, right? I think when he retires, people our age, people younger than us, in 5 years after he retires, are wholeheartedly going to be like LeBron is the GOAT because they just didn't watch Michael Jordan. But I think if he doesn't get that 4th chip, it won't be as strong, it won't be as solidified. As solidified as a base than it has been for Michael Jordan. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think there's recency bias, regardless whether LeBron James wins this year or does not win this year. I just want to quickly go back to Giannis Antetokounmpo real quick. Giannis Antetokounmpo this year, I just want to point out to our viewers and to you, Ian, that this year, the results of what happens this year can completely alter the trajectory not only of Giannis Antetokounmpo's career, but the entire NBA landscape. Because if Giannis Antetokounmpo does not win in Milwaukee this year or next year, he could very well be making his way to Golden State or Miami. So he completely just alter the trajectory of the NBA. I think that was something worthy to note. And I want to say that his legacy is on the line right now, because if he does elect to go to a Golden State Warriors and join forces with Steph Curry, or perhaps go to the Miami Heat and join that team, what they built there, maybe another superstar follows him. Is that really his team anymore? Now he's sort of leaving. He's doing something what Kevin Durant did, where you have asterisks associated with him. So if he stays in Milwaukee, obviously he wins. Good. He led that team. He has that Kawhi Leonard sort of, attitude. Not that, the difference really between Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant is that Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto, and you knew that was his team. There was no other, other superstar around him. And I want him to do that in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to win when you're just the only superstar. That's the problem. And I think we saw it with LeBron in 2008. I mean, like, they went to the finals, got swept, and it was like, oh, well, LeBron's great, but he has no one around him. So it'll be interesting if he's going to need superstars to probably win. I would think that, and whether they come to him or he goes to them, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to end it off like this. I don't know, before we accept live callers, if we have any live callers at this time. So feel free to call in if you're a live caller right now. I want to say that Giannis Antetokounmpo, if he decides to leave Milwaukee, I think I'm not a fan of it. I just want to say if he stays, he does have a good supporting cast. Chris Middleton is a star. He's a top 20 player, arguably top 25 player in the NBA. He's not amazing, but we've seen teams that have one superstar and win. We saw it previously in 2010 or 2011. I'm not sure which. Yeah, 2011 with the Dallas Mavericks. So it does happen. It's not as common now because now you have players that join forces more often, more frequently. But I do think it's possible, and I would love to see Giannis Antetokounmpo do that. I feel like Kawhi Leonard's done that. I feel like Steph Curry has done that. Steph Curry did it with the Golden State Warriors 73-win team.
Klay Thompson!
At the time, I don't know if he's a superstar. A superstar?
That's cap. He is.
Is he a top? If Klay Thompson had his own team, if he's not in the same category, he's not in the same category as a top tier player.
He's better than Chris Middleton. He's way better than Chris Middleton.
Yes, I'll grant you that. Better than Chris Middleton. But I don't know if he's his own, if he's like a second superstar. Like Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, who's the second superstar? Steph Curry, like Klay Thompson was a star at the time, and he was a good player. I don't know about a superstar. LeBron James was great. He won the title in Miami against the San Antonio Spurs. At the time, D-Wade was not a superstar.
Don't say it. Don't do that to me, because you know it's not true. Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh combined.
Dwayne Wade,
2 stars.
Dwayne Wade averaged 16 points in the NBA Finals that year against the San Antonio Spurs.
That's just
2013.
LeBron was
He
scoring
wasn't
30.
as good. He was injured, Ian. He was not playing all the time. Dwayne Wade was amazing. He was a Hall of Fame player. He's a Hall of Fame player, no doubt. Fantastic, phenomenal talent. What I'm saying is, in the specific year 2013, he was not the same player. He was not that superstar that he once was.
This is a whole different argument.
Okay. Okay. I believe Giannis Antetokounmpo. You believe LeBron James, Ian Mills. So that is all we have for Ballaholics. Really happy that you guys joined us tonight on the live video, or if you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, happy for you as well. Glad that you are watching this, on your car ride, in your morning commute, your afternoon commute, whatever you were doing, your shower. I don't know what you're doing. If you haven't already, once again, check out that Jared Deck interview. It was a really dope interview. Former collegiate basketball player, going to be a sports broadcaster as well. So really happy that you guys joined us tonight. Follow Instagram, Ballaholics Instagram, Ballaholics_BTV6. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Thanks, Doug.